Hey everybody, Scott Wilson, Managing Director, Executive Search here at Qualigence International. The topic I want to address with everyone today or talk to everyone about is around interviewing, and specifically around that question: how many interviews should a candidate be going through, should a company be having for the roles that they're trying to fill? I wish I could say there's a kind of one standard, the 3 interview rule or whatever the case may be. But I think it really has to come down to the level of the role that you're interviewing for. So that individual contributor or, first line manager role, what we're seeing now in terms of the industry and how fast companies are moving and how fluid the hiring market is right now, less is more. So if you can have an initial conversation, maybe a screen with an HR person, a recruiter for your organization, and then give that hiring leader kind of that decision-making responsibility, that if they have that second conversation, instead of saying, we'll get back to you, being able to put that offer out on a second interview, a second call, is going to greatly increase your chances of landing that person, because the likelihood they're talking to multiple companies at one time. The second is kind of those leadership levels that are not quite the executive level, understanding that you're going to have multiple conversations, and if it's a high enough leader, you're going to want other executives involved. One piece of advice that I give to clients, and we have a couple active searches going on right now where we've done this, is think about how many people need to be involved in the interview, and how can you minimize the number of interviews that have to take place by also maximizing the candidate experience overall. So when you think about it, maybe you need them to interview with 6 different people. Well, can that be done over 3 interviews instead of 4, 5, or 6 interviews? Instead of everyone getting 30 minutes with a candidate, could you do 3 one-hour calls? If at all possible, could you try to stack calls so that, a meeting's at noon, the next meeting's at 1, so that way the candidate can get through more at one time versus having to constantly schedule out over and over again, for fear that, again, if they're in other interview loops, you might lose them before you even get to the decision-making point. Same thing I think holds true at the executive level, whether it's a CFO, a CIO, a COO, whatever the case may be. You may need them to come in, and after speaking with the senior executives, you may need them to meet with the board, and you've got a few board people, board members you've got to structure together in terms of the interview. Try to be mindful of that candidate's time. And try not to space those interviews out so long that 3 interviews is taking 2.5 months, because I can almost certainly guarantee you that individual is speaking to other organizations. And if you're a recruiter, if you're working with an external partner, or your internal recruiter isn't asking those right questions around what other things do you have, what other irons are in the fire, you're going to lose that person to another offer before you even get to the point of making one. And if you can follow those simple steps, I think that'll create a greater experience for your candidates. Will also keep them engaged and interested in the opportunity throughout. And you're not almost having to reposition the role as you're getting to the point of offer. Feel free to reach out to me directly at the information listed below. If you have any questions, or you want to learn more about what we're doing here at Qualigence or Qualigence Executive Search, or if you just want to talk about your experiences with interviewing. Have a great day.